What if I told you that most people trying to get out of debt are actually making it worse, even when they think they are redoing the right thing? They cut coffee. They cancel subscriptions. They make minimum payments. They even consolidate. And yet, the balance barely moves. You're asked the uncomfortable question. What if debt isn't just a math problem, but a system designed to keep you inside it? Because debt doesn't grow randomly. It grows predictably, quietly, mechanically. And unless you understand the mechanism, you're fighting the wrong enemy. This isn't motivational talk. This is structural analysis. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why most people stay trapped and what actually breaks the cycle. Setting the stage, how debt became normal. Debt wasn't always this common. In the early 20th century, borrowing for consumption was considered reckless. Credit existed, but it was limited and localized. Mortgages were shorter term. Installment plans were rare. Then came the expansion of consumer credit in the 1950s. Then credit cards in the 1960s and 70s. Then deregulation in the 1980s. Then subprime lending. Then student loan expansion. Then by now pay later fintech. Each stage made borrowing easier, not because society became irresponsible, but because financial institutions optimize profit models around interest income. Banks don't primarily profit from responsible borrowers who pay in full. They profit from revolvers, people who carry balances. Interest compounds daily. Minimum payments are calculated to stretch repayment over years. Late fees stack. Penalty APRs activate. The system is mathematically engineered for persistence. Here's the twist. Most people in debt are not reckless. They're structurally unprepared. They don't understand amortization schedules. They don't calculate effective interest costs. They don't see how time multiplies small percentages into massive totals. So before we talk about getting out, we need to understand how people fall in. Debt rarely begins with catastrophe. It usually starts with convenience. A credit card for emergencies. Student loan for investment in yourself. A car loan because public transport is inefficient. A small personal loan to cover a shortfall. First payments feel manageable, then something shifts, an unexpected expense. Job instability, medical cost, inflation rising faster than wages. You miss one aggressive repayment, you start paying the minimum. That's the inflection point. Let's use a simple example. $10,000 credit card balance at 20% APR, minimum payment around 2% of balance. If you only pay the minimum, you can be in debt for decades, paying more in interest than the original loan. And here's the psychological trap. Minimum payments create the illusion of progress. You feel responsible, you're not defaulting, but mathematically, you're treading water in a rising tide. Debt grows through three compounding forces: interest accumulation, behavioral normalization, time, that's the rise phase. The rise. When debt becomes structural at this stage, debt is no longer temporary. It becomes integrated into lifestyle. You budget around payments. You use new credit to relieve old pressure. Rationalize balances because everyone has debt. And institutions reinforce this normalization. Credit limit increases arrive automatically. Balance transfer offers appear with 0% APR. Refinancing options promise relief. But most of these solutions only restructure the timeline, not the principle. Balance transfer at 0% sounds like relief. But if you don't aggressively reduce the principal during the promotional window, the rate resets, sometimes higher. Debt consolidation loans feel organized. But many borrowers free up credit cards and use them again. This is the repeating pattern. Relief without behavioral correction creates recurrence. You don't have a debt problem. You have a cash flow deficit combined with compound interest. Unless income minus expenses creates surplus, consistently debt survives. Eventually stress builds. The breaking point. When math wins, there's always a moment. Collections calls start. Credit score drops. Interest rates increase due to risk profile. You get denied for refinancing. Now, the cost of borrowing rises precisely when you're weakest. This isn't personal. It's algorithmic. Credit scoring models respond to risk signals. Missed payments reduce score. Reduced score increases borrowing cost. Higher cost increases repayment difficulty. Cause and effect. Some people respond by taking payday loans. Cashing out retirement early, borrowing from friends or family. These are not solutions. They're liquidity patches. The real breaking point is when you realize this will not fix itself. And that's where most advice becomes dangerously simplistic. Just budget better. Stop spending. Side hustle. Those are incomplete. You need a system-level strategy. The real strategy. Chronological escape plan here. How you actually get out of debt in structured phases. Phase 1. Stop the bleeding before paying aggressively. Stabilize. Freeze credit card usage. Physically remove access if necessary. Build a minimal emergency buffer. Even $1,000 to avoid new borrowing. Negotiate interest rates. Call lenders. Ask for hardship programs. Many will reduce a PR temporarily if you ask early. If you don't stop new inflow of debt, repayment is meaningless. Phase 2. Create surplus ruthlessly. You cannot out-strategize negative cash flow. List fixed expenses. List variable expenses. Identify structural drains, not coffee, but rent-to-income ratio, car payments, subscription creep, lifestyle inflation. If your income cannot realistically exceed expenses, the hard truth is this. You need either higher income or lower structural cost. That may mean downsizing housing, selling a financed car, relocating, taking overtime, acquiring a higher income skill. These are uncomfortable moves. But comfort is expensive. Phase 3. Target principal intelligently to major methods. Debt avalanche. Pay highest interest rate first. Mathematically optimal. Debt snowball. Pay smallest balance first. Psychologically motivating. If you are disciplined, use avalanche. If you struggle with momentum, snowball may keep you engaged. But here's the key. Minimum payments on all. Maximum surplus on one target. No new borrowing. Phase 4. Restructure only if it lowers total cost. Consolidation is valid if the new interest rate is significantly lower. Fees are minimal. You close or restrict previous credit lines. Otherwise, you are just extending the timeline. Always calculate total repayment cost, not monthly payment. Monthly affordability is not the same as financial efficiency. Modern parallels. The debt explosion. Now zoom out. Global household debt is at record highs. Student loan balances in the US exceed $1.7 trillion. Buy now, pay later usage has surged globally. Credit card interest rates often exceed 20%. Inflation has eroded real wages in many regions. Pattern is systemic. Easy credit expands during growth periods. Consumption increases, wages lag, interest rates rise, pressure builds. You are not uniquely irresponsible. You're operating inside a high-friction financial environment. But structural pressure does not eliminate personal responsibility. It increases the need for strategic action. Failed fixes. People try let dismantle common mistakes, only cutting small expenses. Cutting minor discretionary spending. 1T offset high interest compounding if structural expenses remain high. Chasing quick income schemes. Most fast money approaches carry risk, instability, or distraction from core income growth. Ignoring interest rates. Paying evenly across all debts feels fair but ignores mathematical efficiency. Waiting for motivation. Debt reduction is not emotional. It's mechanical. Waiting to feel ready delays compounding in the wrong direction. 3 clear takeaways. 1. Debt is a cash flow problem first. Interest problem second. If income minus expenses is negative, no strategy works. 2. Time is either your enemy or your weapon. Compound interest destroys slowly, then dramatically. But aggressive principal payments reverse that curve. Speed matters. 3. Structural changes beat cosmetic changes. Small lifestyle tweaks are surface level. Housing, transportation, income, skill set. These determine financial trajectory. Major levers create major change. Debt doesn't disappear because you're stressed. It doesn't shrink because you intend to handle it. It responds only to math and consistency. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you do nothing different, 5 years from now will look like today, just more expensive. But if you implement structural change now, the compounding works in your favor. The same mechanism that traps people can free them if controlled. If this breakdown helped you understand the mechanics behind debt, not just the surface advice, subscribe and stay engaged. Because financial freedom isn't built on slogans, it's built on systems.